checking out my video. I just wanted to give you a little intro. Before I start really kind of diving into this YouTube channel, I wanted to introduce myself and give a little intro slash backstory of how I got here and what we'll be talking about on this channel. So I am Jessica. I'm a mom of 3. I'm a business owner. I'm a quote unquote work at home mom. And I would say I'm a computer nerd, but I also just love a challenge. And so over the years, just through trying new things and figuring things out and even learning things, because I'm working on projects for clients of mine in my business, I have started to develop multiple income streams. So one of the things I'll be talking about on this channel are those different income streams, the pros, the cons, my tips, tricks, ways that you can make money from home, and all of the different things about work at home mom life, or just work at home life. You don't have to be a mom to relate or benefit from the knowledge of all of the things that you could do to make money from home. We'll talk about passive income, and we'll talk about non-passive income and all of the things that come with making money online, on social media, all of that. So a little backstory about me. I have a degree in graphic design. While I was in college, I started working for a business here in Florida where I live, and I started working in the mailroom. Actually, I was sorting mail. That's what I did. I was trying to get out of my crappy waitressing job because I was really burnt out, and I started sorting mail, thinking that I was going to do that for just a little bit while I was in college. And fast forward 14 years later, and I was not still sorting mail, but I was still working for the same business. I kind of quickly started moving up through the company, doing different things like data entry. And then because they knew I was in college for graphic design, I started designing pages for magazines. While I was in college, I started taking web development classes, and I got really into coding with HTML and CSS. So I started taking on bits of jobs like that for clients with this business, and this business did lead generation for magazine publishers. So that was really great. It was a great learning experience for me because I learned a lot in the marketing world, in the lead gen world. Also developed more of my graphic design skills, web development skills. And then about 7 years, I think it was, don't quote me on that, because I'm a mom of 3 and I can't even remember what anyone ate for breakfast this morning. But about 7 years, I believe, into, yes, 7 years into working for that business, I had gotten married and had my first child. And from the day that I had him, I basically started working from home. So I was really blessed and thankful that they allowed me to work from home. For a bit, I would go into the office a day or 2 per week, but it just didn't really make sense. I found that I was more productive at home because when I was working, I was really focused on working and not chatting with the person in the cubicle next to me. And I got to be with my child, which was great. So I kind of just never envisioned myself going back into an office setting. Fast forward several more years, I was still working full-time for this business, and I had my second child, and then I had my third child about 3.5 years ago. And over the years, before I had even had my first child, I had started a freelance business on the side, which actually just started as a referral from my own boss, referring me to the neighbor in our office building. So I did some graphic design and website work for them, and then that kind of evolved into doing graphic design and website work for people all over our town, and then it just kind of grew. So I never advertised this business. It was just work that came to me through word of mouth referrals. So the first couple of freelance clients that I ever had all of those years ago, that was probably 11 years ago, or 11 or 12, I still work with today. Crazy as it is, I still work on a monthly basis for two of those very first clients that I ever did any work for. So we'll get into that too, building long-term client relationships. But I had started this little freelance kind of business on the side, which my boss was very aware of because, like I said, she helped get my first few clients. I had children, and over the years, things started to shift. You know, I am a mom now of 3 kids. It's harder to work full-time and have this freelance business and do some of the other things that I was doing on the side income-wise because of, you know, company pay cuts and limitations that we had had over the years with that business that I worked for. You know, rising insurance premiums, etc. It was just all shifting over time, and I started to see that I could take on more and more freelance business, but I couldn't do it because I always kept my full-time salary position my main work priority. So I was at this weird place where it was like, you cannot take on any more freelance clients because you have this full-time job. Even though it was from home, I was still, you know, bound by being committed to keeping up with that job. But I couldn't leave that job and immediately replace that salary without taking on more freelance clients. So I was kind of just at a stuck place where it was like, I can't do one without the other. I can't do this. I just felt really stuck for a while, and I was becoming more, it was kind of during COVID shutdowns and everything. All my kids were home. The company I was working for was not understanding at all, which felt really messed up after all of the years that I had dedicated to that, being committed to that business and making them so much money. I mean, I literally had a baby, and while I was still in my hospital bed, was on my laptop sending out email newsletters. Never took a maternity leave. Had another baby, working from my hospital bed, never took a maternity leave. Had my 3rd child, same thing. I never even got a maternity leave, never got to take a vacation without actually working during those trips. And I did all of that, and then came, you know, COVID times where no one knew what was gonna happen and everybody was just doing the best they could. And I got kind of like backlash for having my kids at home. Like, excuse my language, but where the hell else are they going to be when everything is shut down? And so it just felt like not a supportive work environment. There's a lot more there, but honestly, it doesn't even really matter anymore. So to wrap that up, I ended up telling my husband, like, what do you think if I quit my job? Mind you, this is the job I've had for 14 years, since before I met him. So he has only known me at this job plus my freelance business. So I said, what do you think if I quit my job and then figure it out? Like, I feel like most people, if they went to their husband and said this, or their wife, you know, whatever, like their partner, and said this, either way, vice versa, they would be like, not a good plan. You know what I mean? But my husband is really, one, he really has always believed in me, and 2, he always believes, like, what is the point in killing yourself over a job if it's making your life miserable? And that's the point that I was at. I was so stressed out with this job and felt so unsupported and so kind of used, and just all of the things that, like I said, don't matter now. Maybe they still do. So he said, burn the boats, baby, which you probably know as the saying that is, if you want to take the island, you've got to burn the boats. So if you want to be really committed, then you burn all other possibilities and you just go all in. So you get to the island and you burn your boats because you know this is what I'm taking, this is what I'm doing, and I don't need any other backups per se. So within about a 2-week time frame, I launched a website for Burn the Boats Media, and I resigned from my job. I gave them, I can't even remember now, 3 or so weeks notice. 3 or 4 actually. Resigned from my job, launched a website, and started taking on more freelance clients. Here I am, terrified that I was going to be kind of struggling to make up for the salary that I just gave up, because the freelance client base I had at the time was small because I had a full-time job and 3 kids and I couldn't take on more work. But within a month, I was just overwhelmed with work. And here we are over 2 years later, and I now have 2 people who work for my business and multiple different income streams. Like I said, we'll talk about later. My business is my main income stream, but I have other side things like a monetized website and some other things we'll talk about. And I wish there was one thing that I would change from that whole experience, and it would have been, I would have quit my job a long time ago. Like, I wouldn't have waited 14 years because I was comfortable in that salary. I would have quit so much sooner if I had just believed that I could do it on my own. And now I'm just like, why did I not quit and leave that miserable situation years before? So that's kind of how I got here. But my real passion has always been in kind of teaching other people all of the things about, like, the logistics of all of these income streams and just how to do things like tech-wise on the computer. I'm nerdy like that. I've been a computer nerd basically my entire life. I remember when we got our first computer in our house when I was a kid, and I would sit there and press everything like file, what does this do? Undo that. What's this next thing do? Undo that. Like, I just needed to figure out what everything did and how it worked, and I have not stopped since then. I love a challenge and I love to figure things out. So I think that's what has led me to so many different, little income streams, because I think, oh, that person's doing that. I want to figure out how they do that. And then I figure it out, and then kind of the challenge is over, and then I move on to the next thing. But you can benefit from all of my experimenting because I'm going to share that all with you. So that is what this little space on YouTube will be about. I will be sharing about different income streams, how I specifically make money from home, ways that you can too, some tech tutorials for people who are doing some of these things or want to be and can't figure it out, tips for being a work-at-home mom, all the things like that. So if you have specific questions, now that I kind of gave you that little rundown, please drop them in the comments, and subscribe and follow and all the YouTube-y things, so we can be YouTube friends and work-at-home income-making friends. So thank you so much for listening.